This looks awesome.
And
This
joining
looks
me here
really,
in the
really
studio
cool.
from
I
the
am pumped
Empire
for
of Sin
this.
team are Ian O'Neill, lead
Empire
combat
of the
designer,
Sun,
and
same
Brenda
thing.
Romero, game director for Empire of Sin, both from Romero Games. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys.
So, Brenda, tell me, what inspired you to make a game about 1920s gangsters?
It's more like what couldn't have possibly inspired me. I mean, we wanted to make this game for a long time.
They overlaid
it's an
her on
incredibly
the
rich space. It's 1920s Prohibition era Chicago. You have a lot of larger than life personalities like Al Capone and Frankie Donovan and Goldie Garneau that are there at the time. And what's not to love? The stories, the personalities were made for a strategy game. And as with many game designers, if you really want to play something and it's not there, then you make it.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell us how all of that figures into gameplay? What do we have here?
In Empire of Sin, you can play as one of 14 different bosses, and it's a great mix of factual and fictional bosses, each with their own bonuses and
This
special
looks so
abilities.
cool already.
And today we're going to play as one Mr. Dean O'Banion.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about Dean. What's his background? What kind of person is he?
Well, he grew up in Chicago, actually, in an area known as Little Hell. And in spite of that, or possibly because of it, Dean had strong ties to the church, which influenced many of the decisions he made, but clearly not all of them. Dean actually owned a flower shop, and from there he ran his rackets.
Okay, very cool. Do all the bosses have their own missions?
Indeed they do. Dean's just about to head off to meet with Father Higgins here, which will kick off his boss mission. Now, Dean's used to walking the streets of Chicago, but we can also take a look at things from the world map.
Oh yes, this is so cool.
Here we see Dean having a bit of a holy sit-down with the good Father Higgins. Now, Father Higgins has received word that a brothel has opened up in a neighbourhood nearby. And if there's one thing that Dean cannot abide, it's brothels. There are several things Dean could pick to say here, but he does what he needs for the good of the church. Ah, you're a good lad.
Consider it done.
Father Higgins offers him $500 from the coffers. Now you can choose what you want to choose, but me, I'm always going to pick the cash. And a good blessing for the soul certainly can't hurt.
Give me the money.
Righto, but how will Dean handle this then?
Well, in Empire of Sin, diplomacy happens one of two ways. It's either going to happen by breath or by bullet. And either we're going to talk it out and things are going to come to some kind of arrangement, or they're going to go south real quick. So Dean knows just the man for the job.
This looks
his
really
name is George
cool.
Moran, and he's a regular at one of Dean's establishments. You can see him there at the bar. So George is tight with the church too, but his morals are pretty loose. And here he's telling Dean that some guy is in from New York who he thinks has a pretty serious attitude problem. And George wants Dean to keep an eye on him, but Dean already knows a bit more. Now, the story ends up taking some surprising turns and getting pretty deep, but for now, Dean just wants to get the good father's deed done.
Okay, but it doesn't really sound like a one-man job. Is he going to get any help?
Oh, that's what I'm thinking too. In Empire of Sin, there are 60 gangsters of varying skill levels that you can hire to join your crew. Me? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hire on Maria Rodriguez and Guido Soroni.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I fought with these guys before, and they're fantastic.
Dude, this
Gangsters
looks
develop
so
loyalty
cool.
to their boss the longer that they work together, and they also have an individual attribute called morale, which affects how they perform.
We know that every boss in Empire of Sin has their own combat ability. What's
It's like
Dean's
XCOM with Empire Building.
Oh, yes. Dean's combat ability is a ranged attack known as Blasphemy. Now, there were many accounts of Dean's brutal attacks during the Chicago newspaper wars where O'Banion and his crew were known as sluggers, and they would beat up the competition for rival newspapers.
Oh,
This often resulted
wow.
in really close-range fire.
Oh my god, it is.
This was where I drew the inspiration for Blasphemy. Using this move, Dean will fire a custom shotgun slug at the target, and when
Oh
the
my
slug hits the
gosh.
target, it explodes. But I really wanted to add something extra, something that would give this ability a bang. That's when I decided that Dean's boss ability would be devastating to heavily armored foes. I wanted to shred their armor completely, and not just one target.
This is
but
so
multiple
cool.
targets. And as a final piece to the puzzle, the name. An awful, brutal attack delivered by a foe that saw himself as a saint.
Blasphemy.
Was a most fitting title.
Oh, man, it is a perfect title and a great move. So here we can see that Dean is done and he did what he needed to do, but there's a whole lot of Chicago beyond this. Dean's going to settle things here with Father Higgins, but like I said, it isn't over by a long shot, and it's going to take some surprising turns. And all of these stories, they're nothing compared to the stories that the player will tell on their way to the top of Chicago. That is mission complete.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm excited for this for sure.
Very cool, guys.
Oh, I want to see
speaking of
more.
family connections, I've actually
It's
got a
so
contingent out
cool.
your way in County Galway. There's a Granny's pub not
I
far
need
from
this.
you guys.
Well, now that we know about it, I'd say it's not for long. Do you have any idea what their security's like? We could use another racket.
I don't know how thick the walls are or how many cameras they've got, but give it a try and we'll see who gets who. Thanks for joining us, guys.
All right.
That looks really cool.
Good with me to Mahagits.
Slán all you folks.
And Empire of Sin will come to both PC and console in autumn of this year, 2020.
Ooh, yes, this fall. Let's go.